Hi, today I am going to teach you how to create a clay whistle. Here is my example. The clay whistle, after being created, is then made into a sculpture. The important parts of the clay whistle are the mouth hole that you blow into and the sound hole right here. This creates the sound. The other important part of the clay whistle is this cavity in here that is all hollow. The tools that you are going to need are a pencil and a fettling knife, or a tool that is a clay tool that's like a pencil is fine. Instead of a fettling knife, you can also use a paper nail file or a metal nail file. You will also need a small ball of clay. The first thing that we're going to do is I'm going to stick my thumb into the ball of clay. Don't go all the way through. And then the next thing, you are going to create the sound hole, the mouth hole that you blow into. And you are simply going to push and pull the clay at the end of this lump of clay that your thumb is in now. And you want to try to make this little section here that is like a skinny little rectangle. That's what you're going to blow into. And this is the example's sound hole. Okay. Since my piece of clay is a little bit on the small side, I'm going to make this sound hole a little smaller. The sound hole has to be large enough so that the fettling knife will fit into it. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make a pinch pot. So with my thumb still inside the clay, I'm going to pinch against the edges of the clay. I'm going to pinch the clay between my finger and my thumb, and I'm rotating the clay around as I'm pinching. Notice how I'm trying not to let the hole in the back of the pinch pot get too large, because I'm going to eventually have to close that hole. So I'm just pressing the clay, thinning out the walls to about 1/4 of an inch of thickness. Once I'm finished, I'm going to carefully push and pull the clay around so that I can close the cavity. And it's almost like making a clay balloon. So you want to make sure that all that air is still trapped inside here, and that you don't have the clay taking up too much space inside that cavity. You still want to have that open cavity inside of this. And now I'm just smoothing this out a little bit so it looks nice. If you get little hairline fractures on the clay, that's not a problem. If you get big cracks so that you can actually see through, then your clay is too dry and you may have to start over. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten one side so that it looks like this. Right now it looks like a ball with this little thing on the end, and I need to flatten one side. I'm simply going to drop the clay carefully, and if something starts to crack too much, you can fix that. Okay, so here is the top of my clay, nice and flat, and I'm ready to try to make the sound. First thing I'm going to do is take my nail file or fettling knife, and I'm going to stick it straight in. You don't want to go down, at an angle, either up or down. You want to try to go straight in. And when it feels like you've pierced that inner area where it's like a balloon and it's all open, you want to just stop. So I'm going to just make sure that goes all the way in there. Next, I'm going to take my pencil tool and I'm going to poke a hole right about here. You want to be pretty much in the middle. And you want to go down right inside of the wall, this wall of clay right here. You don't want to pierce the clay and come out the bottom. So you have to be careful when you do this. So I'm just carefully going to go right down like that. I can tell I've pierced into it, and I can see right into the inside. Now I'm going to continue to work on making the sound. So I'm going to open this mouth hole up a little bit more. And then I'm going to take the pencil and I'm going to thin out this top edge here. So I'm going to stick the pencil in and use my index finger to support this upper piece of clay so I don't tear through it while I'm trying to thin it. It should look like that. Notice how the hole is still pretty small. And next, I'm going to stick this fettling knife back in. And you can kind of see how there's a little bit of clay sticking on the inside there. I want to make sure I remove that clay, so the edges that are going to create the sound are all clean and free of clay crumbs. After I've cleaned up the edges, I can take my index finger again. I'm going to press it right down until it touches the fettling knife. And then I'm going to remove the fettling knife. I'm going to clean up those edges a little bit more. If you have extra clay in the way, you won't get a good sound. And every time you put the fettling knife in and pull it back out, sometimes the clay will stick to it, so you have to keep cleaning it off. See how those clay crumbs get in there? And it will not work if you have a lot of clay crumbs in there, so you have to clean those out. You can just kind of push them down so it's clean. Again, make sure you have a clean passageway for the air. And now it's the moment of truth. Can we edit?